Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Milo Pony Friendship is Magic Rainbow Road Trip. So yeah, we're back here again today with some more MLP, and we're kind of late, I know. I apologize for that. But the official Season 9 hiatus, mid-season hiatus, has started. However, this past weekend and then this coming weekend, we are getting two specials. The first special is Rainbow Road Trip, the one we're reacting to today. And it is a pony-related special that is being done by Boulder Media, not DHX. And it's going to be in the style of the movie in terms of art and animation. So that's very interesting. The second special, which is going to be this coming Saturday, is the Equestria Girls special. And real quick, I just want to mention with that, I will be reacting to it. I will not be reacting to previous Equestria Girls specials I missed. I'm just going to watch those on my own time, just because I don't really have a desire to react to them in any way. And honestly, the only reason I'm reacting to the new upcoming one is because the Dazzlings are going to be in it. And I love me some Adagio. Really, if they weren't going to be in it, then I'd have no reason to react to that one either. Or rather, no desire. But yeah, I will be reacting to this one for sure. But back to Rainbow Road Trip. So I know nothing about this special, besides what I've already mentioned, how it's being done by Boulder Media instead of DHX, how it's done in the style of the movie. That's all I know about it. I presume it's canon. I've been told it's canon to the series, but I don't know when it supposedly takes place. Like, it's kind of hard to tell, because the movie came out, like, while a season was going on, and we found out later when that took place and all, but still. It didn't take place, like, right at that point in the season or anything, no. It took place between season 7 and 8. But yeah, I am excited for sure to see what more we have. I presume this is going to have nothing to do with the ongoing plot of Season 9 at all. It's going to be its own little separate thing, sort of like how the Heartswarming special that we had gotten was. But I'm excited to see what it's like anyway. And hopefully it's pretty good. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else to really say to get this going. I don't really have anything else to talk about with it. So, let's not waste any more time. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode, or special, I guess. Oh, I do know it's an hour long. That is one thing I forgot. But, in the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in. And, yeah. Wait, I lost track of where I was. Will contain spoilers to the special. So that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. And, yeah, I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so, Rainbow Road Trip. The hour-long special of Milo Pony Friendship is Magic. What did I think of it? I thought it was good. Pretty damn good. But I wouldn't call it, like, amazing or anything. There's definitely been just episodes that have been better, especially in Season 9. But I did like it. I did very much like it. I liked a lot of the characters, especially once we started getting more of their personality and everything revealed once they started opening up and all. The concept of this town being, like, void of color and everything drained of color because of this hopelessness. It's not a bad idea, but I think, like, the idea of this also almost kind of seems silly. except for one thing. The reason I say almost is because we've actually seen this before. This is not a new concept, and I really hope that others point this out in their reactions. This is not a new concept. The idea of hopelessness, specifically magic, just natural magic in this world, surrounding the concept of hopelessness, draining ponies of color, we've seen that in the season 2 premiere. When Discord was doing his thing, and the main 6 started losing hope, well, no, specifically Twilight, because the others were drained of magic when they were discorded. But if you realize, Twilight never was. She was never manipulated and changed by Discord, yet she also drained of magic. When did it happen? When she lost hope. When her hope of saving and fixing her friends left her. When that happened, she was drained of her magic. And you want to know what happened when she got that hope back? The color came back to her. Did I say drained of her magic? Drained of her color. The color came back to her when she got that hope back after reading all those letters. They took a concept from season 2 of the show, whether intentionally or not. I don't know if it was fully intentional for that. But they took that concept and made an hour-long special on it, on just that concept. And I actually think that's really admirable. That's really cool that they were able to do that, that they were able to put together this much of a story. Now, let's talk about like the general stuff that happened and everything. So, after arriving and everything, and after finding out about this, the main 6 split up and helped different characters out. I think this was a good idea because it allows us to see a lot of the different new characters, a lot of the different citizens of this town. And with the hour-long time period, it also makes it so that none of them feel like they're not getting the proper time and attention, basically. It's the same thing as if this were like an actual season premiere finale. And it kind of, in that way, reminds me of the season 5 premiere with our town, having all those new characters from the town being introduced, but all of them feeling like they were given enough proper time and attention to understand their character and like get to know them a little more. And actually, I would honestly say this was probably done in that respect better, because in the season 5 premiere, the Cutie Map 2-parter, while a couple of them were given a little more attention, like Night Glider, for example, really wasn't. If I'm being honest. But in this one, all of the characters that we had focused on, that the main 6 were talking to, and of course the mayor and his, well, now fiance, they all felt properly handled, and they all felt like they were given enough attention and focus to where we came to care about them. So I want to talk about each one. I'm going to try to go through this as quick as possible, though. Obviously. So Applejack is working with, and I do not know the names offhand, so I'm probably going to have to look at the credits here. Give me a second. I'll just have to get to it. Applejack is working with the handy pony, kind of, not really like a mechanic specifically, but the pony who takes care of all of that kind of stuff in general. Torque Wrench, that's her name. And their entire thing is about Applejack giving her the hope to be able to be comfortable with what she does. Torque seemed to have this issue about, like, self-confidence, specifically. I mean, to a degree, they all had that, but I noticed, especially with Torque, like, she had this self-confidence issue. She didn't like what she did. She thought it was boring or uninteresting, but Applejack helped her see that there was actually a lot to value about that. Then you had Rainbow Dash with the twins. And their entire thing was affirmation. Rainbow Dash giving them affirmation and attention and basically telling them they could be great was all they needed to gain their hope back. It meant something for someone to actually show that much care. And as a member of the LGBT community, I know the power of affirmation. I understand that. So I understand how big of a deal that can be. Then we had, of course, the mayor and Petunia. Their thing came together at the end when they finally acknowledged and admitted their feelings for each other. Kerfuffle and Rarity. So Rarity was working with Kerfuffle, who was kind of like the town fashion designer, ran the clothing shop and all of that. Kerfuffle would always like add on to other people's designs and stuff because she never felt confident enough in her own work. In a similar way to with the Handy Pony, whose name I already forgot. It's going to take me a couple rewatches to get their names all down, because there's quite a few of them. But similarly, it's a self-confidence issue. Though, unlike with the other one, it's not about the job itself this time. It's more about her own talent at the job. Kerfuffle doesn't feel like she's good enough. Doesn't feel like her, her fashion designs are good enough to stand on their own. So she'd rather add to someone else's, especially someone like Rarity, who is, at this point, really well known. But Rarity helps her get the confidence she needs to believe in her work. Then we have Mr. and Mrs. Hoofington and Moody Root. And this is with Pinky and Fluttershy, which makes sense because you're going to have 3 of these different citizens. So having 2 characters work with them is great. It balances out a little better than if it was just one of the main 6. So it starts with Mr. and Mrs. Hoofington. Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy run into them, and this is where Pinkie Pie's part comes in. She tries Mr. Hoofington's pie, and it ends up being really crunchy and really just not good. And so they find out that it's an apricot pie and that it was made using their apricots. Unfortunately, when they get there, it's kind of revealed that their apricots are not ripe. And because of that, they're not ready for pie. Which is why the pie doesn't turn out well. And they notice that there's a tree with really good-looking apricots. And even without the color, they can tell because of the size and general juiciness that they have. But we find out that that belongs to Moody Root, the neighbor of the Hoofingtons. And here's where Fluttershy's part comes in. While Pinkie Pie was more about, like, getting them to open up about the pie and getting them to basically open up about all of that and everything, Fluttershy got through to Moody Root. Moody Root is kind of like this curmudgeon-y neighbor who's just kind of a loner, sticks to himself and everything, and who the Hoofingtons have never really tried to reach out to, which is kind of the problem with the whole town, but still. So Fluttershy uses her kindness to basically talk up Moody Root and note how well he's taking care of his apricot tree. And she, and with some helpful nudging from Pinkie, pushes the 2 sides together, pushes Moody Root and the Hoofingtons into communicating. And the Hoofingtons, who are bakers, offer to help make pies for Moody Root and for everyone with his apricots. And he likes the idea, because he just eats the apricots as is, but he likes the idea of making them into a pie and stuff, but he doesn't seem to be much of a baker himself. So it's like, this one, like, the Hoofingtons their and Moody Root, their issues weren't like with confidence in themselves or their work or anything. It was more about their issue was more of, again, the town's issue about connecting with others, which again I can appreciate that. So it's like each of these different sets of ponies, each of these different citizens had their own different issues that our main six had to help them work through. Um, which, again, I really like that concept. I like how all of it ends up working out in the end, how the Rainbow Festival goes through. Um, I like the concept of that device that creates the rainbow and everything. Like, that's fun. Um, the songs, the first song we got was honestly kind of boring, not that interesting, but the song we got at the end was much better, which I think was possibly done on purpose because was there three songs? I'm thinking like the first song, like when they got there, because with the mayor singing and all, and then the second song, the song at the end. The song with the mayor singing about like what the town used to be and the Rainbow Festival used to be, like all of that was, it was just kind of boring and bland. But the song at the end was like full of life and stuff. And I think that was kind of uh, a good idea because it fit with the theming of it all. The town was boring and bland, so the song kind of matching that, it works thematically. And then at the end, of course, with all the life and color being brought back, all the hope of the town, yeah, have a more bright, cheerful, happy, just quality song. The problem with that as well, though, is that the first song just isn't enjoyable to listen to because of it, because it's so boring and bland. Um, Even if that is the point, it's still unenjoyable. um, the twins are probably the characters I liked least, and honestly, that entire section with Rainbow Dash and all was probably my least favorite of this special. I did like it, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. It's just, and again, I very much take the idea of affirmation to heart. It's just, it wasn't as entertaining and it was very one note. It's like, oh, Rainbow's going to teach them how to fly, how to fly well, so they can put on a performance. That's all it came down to. And it's like, it just didn't make for as exciting or as fun of a story as with the other townsfolk. Um, the designs of the townsfolk, whether in color or not, just the general designs of the characters, I actually really liked them. There was this one pony who was basically just a recolor of Big Mac, and that guy was really distracting, if I'm honest. But and he was really just a recolor of Big Mac, like seriously. It was super obvious and in your face about it. Um, but yeah, it's like all the character designs for these ponies were actually pretty good. Moody Root kind of felt like one of the weaker ones. Like he was just kind of like one of those ponies like in Ponyville and all that you see all the time. He didn't really feel as exciting. The Hoofingtons had great designs, and of course, my favorite design would probably either have to be Kerfuffle or my personal favorite, whose name, again, I can't remember. I will get these names down. Kerfuffle's easy to remember because it's a funny word. Um, but it's like the others, it's like, yeah, it's going to take me a couple rewatches. But Torque Wrench, um, I really loved her design. Um, I don't know what about it, but I thought it's a really cute look for a pony. So yeah, I definitely really like her design. Kerfuffle again, and there were the one pony with the flowers in her hair. I don't know if her name was mentioned. I think it was, but um, yeah, I liked her design as well. Um, and some of them were a little more bland, like the mayor. His design was just kind of meh. Whether in color or not, it was just kind of a meh design. Um, and overall, the entertainment of this episode pretty much everything leading up to the part where the main six split up and start to work with the different ponies, everything leading up to that was honestly kind of boring and not that interesting. But once that started, it did take a shift and it got a lot better. Admittedly, I don't have any real huge issues with this special. I don't have like any massive problems or anything. It's just so much that it wasn't as good as it could have been. It had a lot of good going for it, but it never really capitalized on it as much as I feel it could and should have. And it never really got to being as entertaining and exciting and just special as some episodes of the show have been. But overall, I liked it. If I were to rank it out of 5, I would probably give it maybe a 4.3, 4.4. Maybe a 4.5. Maybe a 4.5. Again, I'll probably have to see it a couple more times to really say. And heck, I might even enjoy it more on future rewatches. But yeah, overall, I think it was... It definitely had its value, and I'm glad that they did it. And again, I really did like the fact that this was based off of the entire thing with Twilight in the season 2 premiere. Even if unintentionally, that's just fantastic. Still, that's probably my favorite part about this, the fact that it mirrored that so perfectly. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and yeah, it was a good thing to have for the hiatus and everything. So once again, next week is the Equestria Girls special with the Dazzlings. I don't know anything else about it. I just know that it's Equestria Girls special and the Dazzlings come back in it. I'm excited for that. I will be reacting to that next week. Well, this coming week, basically. And I hope to enjoy that one as well. But otherwise, yeah, MLP is on hiatus. I'm just going to say right now, other than, of course, the special this coming weekend, there's not going to be any replacement for MLP in the meantime. And when JoJo ends in a couple episodes, there won't be any big replacement for that either. I'm just going to kind of leave Saturday bare for the meantime. But there is one kind of change I'm going to make, I guess you could say. Or at least I'm thinking of making. Just in regards to how I'm recording something. I'm thinking that I might end up, well, actually, I'm thinking I might end up switching a couple of the things around, basically. Like maybe switching Wednesday and Friday around. And the reason for this, I'm mentioning it here, and I'm just going to briefly mention, I'll make another video on it to talk about it more in focus. In detail. The reason is because with episodes of Carol and Tuesday coming out on Thursday, the fact is I do have to wait so long over the entire weekend and everything before I can, and then until Wednesday the next week, basically almost an entire week to get to the episodes. And I think it might be better if I switch Friday and Wednesday schedule. That way I can just do all of that on basically the same day. On Friday, like one day after Carol and Tuesday come out and everything. And I don't know when One Punch Man comes out. Let me check that real quick. Because that might affect that as well. Okay, so One Punch Man comes out, or at least is uploaded to the site I watch it on. If this will cooperate. On Wednesdays. So on the same day, basically. Or no, okay. Episode 10 came out on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whenever it gets uploaded, basically. I think it's supposed to be on Tuesdays, but it was on Wednesday last week that it was uploaded. So either way, that moving it to Friday, I think, would help enormously with that. Again, I'll make a separate video about that to go into more detail, but just wanted to mention it here as well. In the meantime, tell me what you thought of Rainbow Road Trip. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,